Episode 1. We've all seen this one, right? I'm not making that up, am I? The entire first half of Season 1 has been done to death with reaction videos and old YouTube-style parodies, and look, on that day humanity received a grim reminder. Everyone knows that. In fact, the words "a grim reminder" are such a ubiquitous internet phrase now that you don't even have to know about the show's existence to know that A, humanity is here, and B, they've received a grim reminder. It's one of those things like Grimdark being from Warhammer or God Tier being from Homestuck. Tyrek Lannister was a horse. Wonderful things for and to me. It's something everyone knows about. But we're still going to start with episode 1 because I can't do things by halves, and if I were to start at the place in the story where I want to start, Season 2, Episode 4, everyone would be way confused by all the weird things I was saying like they were normal, and none of you would stick around. So Episode 1 starts in this city, right? Shiganshina. I don't know why it's called that when this world is clearly supposed to be a vaguely German-flavored allegory of medieval Europe. I mean, look, there's a Hannes here. There's a fucking Reiner Brown.
Oh, look at that garage door.
Anyway, Shiganshina is one of these little outpost districts that lie in each cardinal direction outside the walls of this, what I'm assuming is post-apocalyptic because of the giant fucking walls, society. It's the southern-facing district on the outermost wall. This wall's name is Maria, and basically it's just this bastion of humanity that serves as a kind of holding cell. Because no one's ever allowed to leave, and humanity outside the walls is gone, so there's also no one left to enter. Well, okay, it's not really that nobody's allowed to leave, it's just that no one ever does. Except the scouts will get to them, because outside the walls, the entire world is just overrun with these gigantic person-eating freaks called Titans. No one knows where they came from, but they are absolutely real. They exclusively eat human flesh, and the only thing standing between them and humanity being wiped out for good is a tall-ass concrete wall. There are 3 walls in this world, 3 concentric circles, and basically, as you move in toward the center, the socioeconomic status of the inhabitants goes up, quality of life gets better, and people get increasingly more ignorant and annoying about issues they don't see as real problems because they've never had to deal with them, like Titans and global warming. Episode 1 starts with a shot of these 2 birds, which as far as I can tell are some type of goose, but not Canada geese, which supports the medieval Europe analogy. Then we meet our protagonist, Aaron. Aaron is terrifying. He's very intense, he's 10 years old, he wants to join the military, and he picks a fight at every single opportunity where there is a fight to be picked because his adopted sister figure, Mikasa, bails him out every time with her extremely advanced martial prowess. She's a whole thing. We'll get to her in a minute. The kids are gathering firewood from an area outside the city in the acres and acres of agricultural land contained within Walmaria. At the city gate, they meet this guy, Hannes, who works for the faction of the military responsible for guarding the walls. They're called the Garrison, and as their symbol, they have 2 red roses. Hannes has been drinking on the job, and so have all the other guardsmen.
You kids care for a swig?
Aren't you on watch?
Yep!
Nobody in the Garrison takes their job seriously since the wall is so high and nothing has ever been able to breach it. The guards see themselves as a formality, a tax write-off really, with lots of free time and access to liquor, and when Aaron sees that, he gets angry. It's kind of a Jon Snow moment, like from Game of Thrones, where the ancient brotherhood guarding the wall is supposed to be this noble institution of honorable warriors, the sword in darkness guarding the realms of men, and it's only after Jon gets there, and pledges his life to the cause, that he finds out the whole thing is basically just a joke. They have no funding, they have no honor, and nobody there considers the threat from outside the walls as being serious in any way. Next, a group of scout soldiers return from an expedition outside the walls. The Scouts are another of this military's 3 branches along with the Garrison and the military police. The symbol of the Scouts are the wings of freedom. This expedition has not gone well. As the soldiers ride back into town, everyone sees that many are missing, several are wounded, and the rest, the ones who survived, have faraway stares and sit in grim silence. A woman approaches Commander Keith Shadis asking where her son Moses is. All they can give her is part of her son's arm. In the background, we see a few other faces that will become more familiar as the story goes on, like Captain Ervin Smith and this horse, who is actually the same horse as the horse that killed Davy Jones. In the crowd, a man says pride is why the Scouts keep trying to venture out beyond the walls.
That's what happens when pride takes you outside the walls.
We hear a cultist who worships the walls talking about how the pursuit of knowledge is the root of evil. Is Shiganshina then the Garden of Eden? Or maybe it's the entire kingdom. If knowledge and pride are outside the walls, and inside the walls there is nothing but faith, submission, and fear, maybe the Scouts represent human nature, wanting to know, seeking the truth. always reaching toward the future. The Jaegers have this perfect little nuclear family thing going on. There's the dad, who's a doctor, the mom, who's extremely charming, extremely beautiful, her name is Carla, she's the best, she does the laundry, and then there are the two children, a boy and a girl, Aaron and Mikasa. Mikasa is adopted. So they sit down to lunch and she's like, hey, adoptive parents, Aaron wants to join the Scouts, and Carla's like, absolutely not. Carla is very anti-military, she hates violence, she hates the system, she says, I don't want my son to be fodder. The dad, Grisha, this guy's name is Grisha, we're all gonna have to deal with that, says something very interesting though. He says, you have no idea what it's like out there, implying he may, at some point, have gone outside the walls himself. Maybe he was in the Scouts, we don't know. It seems unlikely since his wife is so against the idea, but Grisha is an educated man. He has a medical degree, maybe he's read about it, or maybe he took a class in poli-sci in undergrad at Titan University or something. Either way, he seems to have some capital K knowledge about it. Grisha says he'll let Aaron in on that totally normal, above-board thing he's working on in the basement if Aaron stops throwing a fit, and Aaron's like, yes sir, young man, I will be a perfect child for the next 2 to 4 business hours. I'll behave amazingly. And Grisha's like, okay, good. Anyway, I have to go make a house call to some rich family from the inner wall. I'll be back in a few days. Hopefully, nothing happens within the next couple of hours that will end up drastically changing the trajectories of all our lives. That's unlikely. Okay, love you. Bye. Carla tasks Mikasa with protecting Aaron from himself. I'm pretty sure this is called parentification and isn't very cool of her, but I think women are allowed to make mistakes sometimes, even if the internet doesn't.
Mikasa, the boy needs to be protected from himself.
I'm 9! What am I gonna do?
Next, we meet this little blonde child. His name is Armin Arlert. He is Aaron's best friend, and his hobbies include going for long walks on the beach, being the smartest person in any given room at literally any given time, and explaining anything that ever happens in excruciating detail because he knows you weren't paying attention, and even the tiniest, most throwaway-sounding lines are actually important clues for later. Armin is in the process of getting bullied by some hooligans for reading, what these older kids are calling sacrilege. Even at the lowest social level, petty squabbles between children, knowledge is something dangerous, something to be avoided, something which the prevention of is worth enacting violence over. Armin understands this. He says the government's policies are a reflection of society's fear of the unknown. Seems like this kid might be on to some of that capital K knowledge too. Aaron and Mikasa break up the fight because the older kids are terrified of Mikasa. Later, while the three of them are hanging out by the river, the wind goes still. There's a long, eerie silence. A flash of light and a crack of thunder coming from just outside the wall, and suddenly, a Titan appears, basically from out of nowhere. It's taller than the wall. This has never happened before. This one also looks unusual compared to the other Titans we've seen so far. It doesn't have skin, that's the main thing, it's all just exposed muscle, and it seems to be really, really hot. There's tons of steam and smoke coming off it. So this Titan kicks the wall. Titan kicks the wall, disappears. There's a huge explosion, people are crushed in the blast and getting hit by shrapnel, huge chunks of wall are landing on houses, one of those houses being the Jaegers, which unfortunately Carla was still very much inside. Titans are in the city. The comrades have infiltrated. Everybody's freaking out, trying to evacuate, but there's only one door, and it's tiny. The entirety of the city guard is completely hammered, so their reaction time is shit, and Carla's stuck under the house. People are getting eaten, it's really not looking very good. Aaron and Mikasa are trying to pick the house up off their mom when Hannes shows up to save the day.
Take the children and get them out of here!
And look, he's just one man. He can't lift an entire house. He can't stop the Titans from feeling the pain of their hunger. He tells Aaron, look, kid, the consuming spirit is a staple of horror from all around the world. Hunger robs you of your humanity, makes you do things you never thought you were capable of, and the fear of it comes from the fear of the other. You can't even control yourself when you're starving. What makes you think you have any chance at controlling somebody outside of yourself? The fear doesn't come from letting them take that first gentle, hesitant bite. It comes from not knowing if they'll be able to stop. So he grabs the kids, tells Carla he always held a candle for her, and books it with them toward the river. Aaron watches his mother get eaten, and he swears vengeance on it. Every Titan is going to die, and he'll be the one to make sure it happens. Which is probably fine, right? Swearing revenge never propagates, cycles of violence or anything. Adults pass their fear and the hate that comes with it down to the children, the next generation, and the tragedy happens again and again. So that's episode 1. Thanks for sticking around. See you later for episode 2.